Back, guys. Thanks for joining me tonight. I'm so excited because we're going to get closer and closer to the start of the NBA season. And the Lakers starting five was released by JJ Redick. So before we dissect the starting five and make some predictions about the Lakers, I want to shout out the amazing supporters of the channel. I have to give a big shout out to Jeffrey for donating to the channel consistently. It means so much. Thank you so, so much. Jason, Tiffany, Paul, Marvin, Courtney, and Davis, I really appreciate your donations to the channel. Much love and support you guys have been showing. I also want to give a special shout out to T-Bert. That's my guy from Philly. So thanks for supporting the channel. I really appreciate you all. Seriously, thank you so much. So if everyone can also do me a solid favor and like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, that would be amazing. So let's just get right into it. Next up on Keeping Up with the Kardashians, the Lakers starting five, we have, I have a little picture for you guys. So we have D'Lo at the 1, who has gone 0 for 7 in a playoff game against Denver. He's up and down, right? So I'm not a huge fan of him being in the starting lineup. Next, we have Austin Reeves, who at times seems to be the best player on their team. And he comes up quite heroic in late game situations as the closer. So it also looks like we have LeBron at small forward or power forward. I guess it doesn't really matter where he is, because that position's sort of a joke because of the bullshit point forward position that we see, which for LeBron is another term for bum rushing the lane, okay? Holding on to the ball to score or give you the ball at the last second or until he can get an assist, right? So then we have Rui Hachimura at, I guess, the 3 of the 4, which again, doesn't really matter. He just needs to be ready and available to shoot or to do something with the ball when he gets it from LeBron. Big LOL, right? Lastly, we have Anthony Davis at the center position, which he has repeatedly said that he doesn't want to play because, of course, he can't really sustain getting beat up in the paint, even though that's where he needs to be. His perimeter shooting has been terrible the past 2 or 3 seasons, so he can't really play, this wing perimeter role like he wants to play alongside LeBron, who needs catch and shoot players. So, this starting lineup is not all that impressive to me. Like I said, Anthony Davis has been not shooting well for the past 2 or 3 seasons, but he has been the difference maker for the Lakers every season since he's been there. He faced a lot of injury. He got beat up a lot in the media. I mean, the blame game, right? He's been the scapegoat for LeBron almost every season, except when Westbrook was there. He got a little break. But I mean, if it wasn't Westbrook, it was AD, or it was this person, or it was that person, right? So everybody's a scapegoat for LeBron, essentially. And AD in particular, I think he's missed over 200 games throughout his NBA career, which is a lot. That's a lot of games, right? That equates to 3-4 seasons that he's just missed of prime play of his youth. So, that is a really sad thing to see. And, it's been tough for Anthony Davis. And I think he's faced a lot of adversity. They called him always down. They called him a glass man. I mean, all kinds of things. They talked about his diet, how he was taking care of himself. Every single thing that he ever said in an interview, it really, was just picked apart, right? He's just been picked apart his whole time with the Lakers. So, that can't really feel all that good. And LeBron has repeatedly mentioned that the team is supposed to be handed to Anthony Davis. He's going to pass the torch. I haven't seen it yet. Yahoo Sports is reporting him as a number 2, the best number 2 in the league, the best second option in the league. And we saw what happened in that Denver series where AD was the guy to go to. He was the guy with the hot hand, and LeBron, for some reason, went away from him. He wanted to be the hero. He wanted to take over the game and say, hey, I'm the reason why we won. And it didn't work because he can't shoot. And in fourth quarters, he doesn't always play the best or make the best decisions. So I'm very underwhelmed by this starting five. I can't say it enough. I don't think that this is a starting five that is going to do damage in the league. When you think about it, JJ Redick, he came out and he said he's starting the team that had a winning record. I think they went 20-6 or 21-6, something like that was the record. And I don't care what the record was. I don't care what the record was with this lineup. I really don't give a damn. When you talk about the regular season, which basically doesn't matter, if anything's not real basketball, it's the regular season, not one-on-one play, not shooting around playing horse, but the regular season of the NBA. I mean, how many great competitive games do we actually see in the regular season? Not a whole lot. So, to me, the NBA's regular season is more like just a warm up for the playoffs. It's like playing pickup for 82 games straight. Then we have the ridiculous in-season tournament that's come out that Adam Silver created, which is a complete joke. I mean, how is the Lakers that won the in-season tournament, they get to hang this, felonious banner up, and then they're knocked out in the first round of real competition come postseason? I want to open the phone lines on this because I want to hear what you guys think. I want to have some open dialogue about it. Is this roster built to contend? I mean, we're talking about their starting five. We didn't even get to the bench. So it doesn't feel like they have much depth on the team. I mean, think about it. Think who's on the bench. We have Bronny James riding the bench. It feels like the goal of the Lakers franchise is to make the Lakers so bad that it seems plausible that they would give Bronny meaningful minutes just in time for Halloween when pretending to be an NBA player makes a great costume. So the Lakers are laughable. I'll read some of the comments while we're waiting for some callers. In the meantime, I'll put up the phone number to call in. And I'll go ahead and read some comments. So welcome. Is it Mint J? Mint J, I like that. Is that about sneakers? I kind of like that name. That's pretty cool. The man of the hour, every hour. Love that. So easy wins for other teams. I mean, look, regular season could be like a breeze for the Lakers, right? Real Lakers fan here. Shocked the starting lineup isn't AD, LaBalco, and 3 refs. The NBA has never been worse. I miss Kobe so much. I mean, for you to be a Laker fan and have to watch this, I feel for you. My heart goes out to you because we're talking about a historic franchise that has done nothing but really win. You're talking about in every decade, the Lakers have won at least 1 or 2 rings. So to see your team going through this it's tough. And it's embarrassing. Let's see some other comments here. Did you think there was a 1% chance he wouldn't start? I mean, I thought there was a 0% chance that LeBron would not start on the Lakers. I mean, to me, he needs to come off the bench. At this point in his career, at 40 years old, he should not be starting on any NBA team. He should be coming off the bench. The offense that he's running isn't conducive to team basketball. So because of that, it hampers a team. In season is bullshit. Oh, for sure. In-season tournament, what is that? Makes no sense, right? I mean, Halloween costume for Bronny is funny as hell. I'm crying. He is wearing a costume. If Ben Simmons is not an NBA player, is Bronny an NBA player? Like, do we really believe that he's built right now for the pros? He's going to grow. He's going to develop. So If you are a professional NBA player, you should be ready to perform. So, yes, he's wearing a costume for sure. The NBA is a joke because of LeBron's antics. It sure is. I mean, let's just take a look at this starting five again. Does this look like a team that's going to win? I don't think so. We all know LeBron is going to be playing the point guard position and basically hoarding the points, the rebounds, and assists. And we're going to have to talk about another year for LeBron. It's going to be year 22, LeBron, the greatest scorer of all time. That's what we're going to have to hear. We can't believe he's playing like this at 1 million years old. It's bullshit. So, truthfully, Lakers fans can't be too mad. At least COVID happened, got them one. It's true. COVID happened. They were able to basically exploit the circumstances of that year, of that season, to come out with a win. And I mean, I can't blame them. If they were ready and available to play, they won that title. I mean, personally, I would have loved to see LeBron band with the rest of the league and decide to sit out that year. I would have preferred for him to be supportive of the other players that did not want to play and they wanted to, go through a lockout. House of David, good morning. Shalom. Thank you so much. Of course, Bronny's not ready. I mean, let's be for real. It counts. I get it. But having that break, these games was perfect for him. He doesn't win if that doesn't happen. 0 championships with LA. I mean, for sure. I don't see LeBron winning a title that season. Absolutely not. No. My first time hearing about the in-season tournament, I asked why. Does it get us to the finals? Why does it award banners? It's stupid. I agree it's stupid because it doesn't necessarily indicate who is even going to contend in, the postseason. So it's disappointing in my opinion because you're not it's just not real. The competition isn't there, and that is the disappointing piece. Bronny isn't even a G League player, for sure. Like, he was getting torched by guys in the G League. But, just to go back to the G League comment, I think that it was something that Adam Silver decided to create because of the lack of competition that he was seeing, the lack of defense, and people were complaining and calling that out. So he decided to create this in-season tournament to give players more of an incentive to play, not to load manage, to not take games off, to be available. I mean, I don't know that it's working, but it's still not good basketball. It's not the brand of basketball that purists and fans really want to see. But you're right, Red Phil. Shout out to you. Bronny is not even a G Leaguer. Looks like 4 players that will take the blame. I mean, whoever is playing with LeBron is going to be blamed. We know that. That's a fact. House of David, superstar teammates who make all NBA first and all defensive first teams, and he still can't secure a real playoff spot. He needs 2 all-stars. I mean, LeBron is 40 years old. He needs to be on the bench. Okay, you still want to play. Come off the bench and run the second unit. Be a part of this game, but you shouldn't be the first option on any team right now. You're not playing championship basketball. It's not working. They just got bumped out of the first round. I think in 2021, they were knocked out in the first round. 2022, they missed the playoffs. 2023, they went to the Western Conference Finals, by playing around with the seeding. I thought it was really, really interesting. I'm going to play a soundbite actually while I have you guys, just because it's just Jeff Teague actually talked about the Lakers starting 5, and I don't think he said anything earth-shattering or groundbreaking, but there were some little bits in there that I want you guys to hear. While we're waiting for some phone calls, I'll play it.
Dang, that's crazy. That's crazy. I remember basketball's already back because, you know what I'm saying, the Lakers are already fucking up basketball Twitter and all the basketball sports because they already have, you know what I'm saying, their starting lineup. My boy came in and said, listen, we ain't about to bullshit this year. This is my starting lineup. This is what I'm rocking with, man.
Repeat it. Who is it?
JJ said at the one, D-Lo's going to be there. It's going to be A. Reeves, Rui, Bron, AD. That's going to be the starting five.
I mean, it shouldn't be no other way. I mean, shit, they get paid all the money.
Real simple.
Yeah, I mean, that was simple. That would.
If it's about that, then fuck it. But
I mean, who else you gonna start?
It'll be
sure.
I'm sure Bronny gonna end up starting.
Let
me chill out.
Nah, bro, we standing on that.
Nah, but who else is gonna start though? Seriously,
I think Jared Reddick got to get back healthy, but I don't think he was going to.
I didn't like him as a starter anyway. He's an energy guy.
Yeah, and also you probably need Austin Reeves and Rui to really have really high stock, because if you have aspirations to get a championship or to get another piece, they're gonna have to be at their highest value.
Championship shit dead.
I ain't gonna say that. I just
worry about what seeding they want to be.
Well, with this current roster, I think it ain't likely, but with them niggas, you never know what could happen, bro. They could pull off a crazy trade. It's happened before. They got Pau Gasol for Kwame Brown, so I don't put anything past.
Oh, they get a trade for sure.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If they get their assets together, right? I ain't calling them they players.
Right now, we playing.
He said, "Damn, bro. As of right now, they playing team. They a playoff team in the West.
Playing, and then we on the way to Puerto Rico.
Nah,
the week after, bro.
I believe in Brian.
Nah, it's a team, bro. He ain't golfing.
Yeah, but just for some reason, Brian, man, he's just on a different mission now. I think he got a head start by playing in the Olympics, so he in his best shape that can be in at 40. I think he at elite level right now.
I think Brian gonna kill, bro. It's just that team, bro. I'm sleep, bro.
I think that they'll be a better team just off the simple fact that I feel like they got a little bit of a continuity going to this now, because you could tell it was a lot of division with Darby Hill. Now a new situation. JJ seems to be a player's coach. We'll see how that goes. But also, it's probably going to be heavy LeBron James as a coach. So I think everybody going to fall in line anyway.
So who y'all team in the West that y'all think will make some noise this year? Like have an impact like Minnesota did and OKC did.
Okay, guys, I thought it was really funny that they talked about the Lakers being a play-in team. Then they said, they'd be a playoff team. I don't know what to think of the Lakers. They have a really funny way of creating their schedule to make sure that they have, certain that they either play an easier schedule in the beginning or a tougher schedule in the beginning. I'm pretty sure that they are in control of the schedule. Then you also have certain factors that to me don't quite line up for them going deep in the playoffs, but if they have certain matchups, they can wind right back into the Western Conference Finals. That's what we were expecting last year. We weren't expecting them to get Denver in round one. I do think that Minnesota or any other team would have knocked them out, but the idea was that they were trying to essentially get certain matchups so that they can go far. And, it is about that. Oh, I have a caller coming through. 1 second. One second. All righty. Hey, T-Bert. Talk to me nice.
Hey, how are you doing, Dom? It's such a pleasure to hear your voice and see you on TV.
Oh, thank you so much.
Before we get started, I just want to give a shout out to all the people that's watching. Thank you so much for tuning in to Dom's show. Her show is on the rise, and y'all are getting in at the entry level. A year from now, she's going to be bigger than Gilbert Arenas. So shout out to everybody that's watching. All right, let's get cracking, Dom.
So what do you think about this Lakers starting five?
Oh, God. Okay, so the Lakers starting five. Barring any injuries, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I put all my biases aside because I consider myself to be a sports purist. Barring any injuries, I believe that they are a playing team at best, at the very best. But I think they got the right starting five. I don't know why they was playing with the lineup for the second half of the season last year. This should have been the starting five regardless. But you got issues with the starting five. Of course, we know the obvious issues with AD.
Right.
You know, he's injury prone, and absolutely, he's going to get injured again this year. It's just a matter of how long will he be out, and will it be serious enough? Because we all know he's a glass man. You know, his body just isn't, built to withstand an 82-game season. So how many times is he going to get injured? How serious is it? And when is the injury going to occur? So that's what you got to consider. LeBron is LeBron. I'm just skipping him. I think because if I start talking about LeBron, you're never going to get to another caller. Okay?
I know.
So I'm just going to skip him. Everybody know about LeBron. LeBron's LeBron. All right. So D'Lo. D'Lo has game. D'Lo is nice, but he's super inconsistent. And I think his inconsistency comes from he gets in his own head, and once he gets that mental block, his game becomes off. And then I think like LeBron might get on him a little bit. The coach might get on him and he starts to shut down. So once he goes into that shell, your point guard is now ineffective for a nice stretch of the season or the playoffs. So it just depends on if.
But he can't even do his job. He's not a real point guard on that team, so it must be deflating to be a point guard, and you can't play your position because you're playing with LeBron.
Oh, absolutely, because everyone who's ever played with LeBron, see, there's a big misconception LeBron makes everyone better. If you look at the history and the statistics, with the exception of Kyrie, all the other superstars and future Hall of Famers, their statistics got worse when they played with LeBron. So LeBron doesn't make anybody better because since he doesn't have a full bag, he can't play off ball. He has to play on ball, and that pretty much messes up the rhythm of your offense. And besides, they never run a real offense anyway. That's why they can't run a triangle. But anyway, let me stop talking on LeBron. I want to talk about Austin Reeves. Here's the problem. Yes, he deserves to be starting, but you're going to put him at the 2, right? Austin Reeves operates very smooth and well with the ball. He's not a great off-the-ball creator of his own offense. So it seems like J.J. Redick, now I'm just trying to read into the future a little, J.J. Redick is going to try to turn Austin Reeves into a J.J. Redick, which is come off a bunch of pin downs, come off double picks, shoot. Like, I don't think that's his strong point. So it's going to be interesting to see if he can put up his 15 to 21 points off the ball. I just don't see it happening when D'Lo has the ball. D'Lo's going to get up about 6 to 8 threes a game. Then D'Lo's first option is to get the ball to LeBron. How is Austin Reeves going to be effective like he shows at times off ball? Every time we see him effective, it's with ball. He's very shifty with the ball. So that's going to be interesting. And Rui. I like Rui. I like his game. Rui's a one-trick pony. But unfortunately for the Lakers, Rui does not understand his role. The Lakers organization has not defined his role for him to actually fit in. I think Rui. I think he's a solid player. But when I say he's a one-trick pony, his offense starts on the left baseline. He fakes right, goes back left baseline, dunk with 2 hands. One-trick pony, and that's just it. So I just don't see the chemistry there. They do have talent. I just don't see the chemistry. I'm very interested to see what offensive scheme that they put in. Remember, first-time head coach, is going to be a brand new offense. It's just a season for disaster. Now, I would be up on the Lakers.
Do you believe that it's going to be a brand new offense? Because I think it's just going to be LeBron's offense.
Yeah, JJ Redick is very cerebral on certain things when it comes to X's and O's. So LeBron will listen to him because LeBron hired him. So why wouldn't he listen to him? But JJ's going to feed off of LeBron too. Especially LeBron is going to do a lot of end coaching in game, but JJ's going to come up with the X's and O plans pregame and in practice. So it's so
they're probably going to agree ahead of time. Most
right. So if this was like 5 rookies and a rookie head coach, I'll say, the ceiling looks good. But it's not. They're trying to win the championship, which is an absolute joke. So they're older, new head coach, new offense. Your 2 guard is have to learn how to play without the ball. Rui don't know his, where he fits in. LeBron's going to ball hog. AD, when he's going to get hurt, playing at best. Your take.
Yeah. No, honestly, I think that you have a very solid take. The way that you assess the lineup is spot on. I love it. So I think the biggest issue that I see here is the interpersonal issues potentially when you have Bronny coming off the bench. And what they mentioned in that soundbite was that they think Bronny is going to start. That is going to kill their locker room. We know that. I really believe that it's going to kill the locker room if he should start. So the Lakers, I think that they're in trouble this season. I think that they're a playing team at best, like you said. And yeah, I mean, that's my prediction for the Lakers as well. I do have a caller from Indiana calling in, so I'm going to go ahead and give them a call back. But
go ahead, and I'm going to call back. Yeah, I'm going to call back on the next one. Yeah. On the WNBA one.
Oh, yeah. I'm looking forward to your thoughts on that.
Thank you, Dom.
Thank you, T-Bert.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye. All right. I'm going to call. So sorry about that.
Hello.
Hi, this is Dominique at Sports Tea. Talk to me nice.
Hey, what's up, Dominique? What topic y'all on? I was just watching y'all on YouTube when y'all was talking about the Lakers thing.
That's exactly what we're on. I was trying to let the room get filled up a little bit, and I was reading some comments. But I'm curious to hear what you think about the starting 5. I'll go ahead and put them back on the screen just so you can see.
All right, so I was looking at it when they first posted it, man. I think
sorry.
really.
Before you get into this, what's your name?
It's Eddie TV, man. I got a YouTube channel on YouTube. I cover everything. I do news coverage, sports coverage. You know what I'm saying? I'm still trying to grow my channel, man. I'm trying to be like you and Man Down Sports, man.
Eddie TV, like EDDIE?
Yep, Eddie TV. Yep.
Perfect.
I'll drop a comment later in the comments.
I'll go ahead and check out your channel. And yeah, guys, go ahead and subscribe to Eddie TV. I mean, we need to support each other. But yeah,
absolutely.
Share with me what do you think about this starting 5?
The starting 5, man, I mean, it's the same as last year, but I also said that Bron does need to come off the bench at least. They say Anthony Davis likes to play the 4 position. Bro, you 7 foot.
Like, get your big ass in the paint, right?
You know what
I'm with you.
Like get in the paint, bro. If you want to do this, okay, let's do D'Lo, Austin Reeves, let's do Rui, let's do Jackson Hayes, maybe at the 5. All right, if AD wants to play the 4, let him play the 4 in that lineup. And Bron needs to come off the bench. I completely think that should be the starting 5 for the upcoming season for them to even have a chance.
I'm here for it. We need to remove LeBron from being the primary ball handler and decision maker. Like, it needs to end. I'm so tired of the offense that he's running. There's I just don't understand how they can be successful that way.
No, they can't. And the 4-6 record proves the way when people play Bron ball, it's not winning basketball. That's why he's 4-6.
At all. And he's no longer defending. So it's just like he's yelling at his teammates to get back on defense. He's yelling at them when they turn the ball over. I mean, it's like he's an old man that's frustrated. You know what I mean?
Basically.
Like, I need you to go. I need you to retire. But if you're not going to do that, just go ahead and come off the bench. You and Bronny.
Yeah, yeah.
Just
I
throw them
completely
both
agree with
in
both.
for an alley-oop and put them back on the bench. Like, I'm over it.
Basically, yeah. Let's just have that one little single moment, and let's just be done with it. But I'm gonna throw this in here right quick. So I'm a avid 2K player, like literally. So
I used to play
like
NBA Live, like way back in the day.
Oh man, 05, man. Look, let me tell you something. When I had Carmelo Anthony on the cover, look, I had put my I had did the little franchise run in every slam dunk contest. I won every single one. That's when it used to be. That's when live used to be fun. You know what I'm saying? But they killed the franchise. But you know, I switched over to 2K. So
2K is lit.
Yeah, like literally. But the sad part about it is the same way that they play in real life, they play on the game, and that's horrible. Like spreading the floor. Like I could play the Lakers. Like I'll pass the ball, I bring the ball up court with the point guard. Boom, boom. I run down the lane, and LeBron leaves the dude in the corner wide open for a three. He'll dash to the paint. I pass it over. Boom, 3-point. Easy. Only thing you got to do to beat the Lakers, and I do want to say this, anything you want to do or to beat the Lakers is you just got to outshoot them. If you outshoot the Lakers, you will win every game. People just don't pay attention to that. You can't beat them in the paint. You could beat them on the perimeter, shoot nothing but threes.
For sure. I mean, we've seen it. I don't even know why people don't realize that. The Lakers can't shoot the ball. So if you're a team that can shoot, you almost instantly win. You know, if you can actually have a combination, I think, of shooting and high percentage shots, then you're going to beat the Lakers because they just don't have what it takes, especially down the stretch. They will play great basketball quarters 1 through 3 and then collapse in the fourth quarter. And that's just because LeBron is too old.
Absolutely.
He can't make it through 4 quarters.
He can't, but he don't realize that he don't want to realize that he want to pad his stats, and he don't want to actually say, all right, well, this team is playing better without me, but you know, I can't admit that.
He would rather lose the game. I mean, that's what we saw in 2011 when he basically point shaved and threw that whole finals. So
with the Mavs, with the Mavs, he took that big
he wasn't going to be Finals MVP. So he pouted and he was sad, you know, because it was clearly what we were looking at was someone who was being corralled by Dwayne Wade. He was the captain, and you could clearly see that. But
I'll say this last thing, and I'll let you go. He doesn't deserve a statue in LA. He doesn't, and I think they're going to try to push that narrative for him to do that because Jeannie Buss and all of them, they on a whole little boat ride with him just to make him happy, but they don't realize that they are destroying their franchise.
I mean, it's already destroyed. I think Jerry Buss, Kobe Bryant, even Jerry West, they're rolling over in their graves right now.
Oh, absolutely. Rest in peace, Kobe. Rest in peace, all the great Lakers owners and all of that. But yeah, they let him do it. And I think after he's gone, it probably won't be able to be restored. I don't believe so.
I mean, they'll come back. It's just a matter of when.
They
have a couple of years where their franchise is likely to be destroyed, right?
Yeah, I give it. Yeah.
And is LeBron going to be there for all of Bronny's 4 years that are guaranteed? Who knows? You know.
I don't even think Bronny's going to be there for those guaranteed years.
I mean, just thinking about it, it's laughable. This is a train wreck. This is literally keeping up with the Kardashians. I think all season long, we're just going to have so much content from the Lakers alone.
Oh, yeah.
Probably start a whole nother channel on the Lakers.
I swear, man. Like I said, I'm looking forward to it because I need the content. I want the content. I don't want Bronny to fail. I don't, because I mean, all in all, he's a young dude, and I mean, I know he wants to make his way, but I don't want him to fail. But I will say this is going to blow up in Brian's face and Bronny's face at the end of the day.
When you don't deserve something and you get it, it's bound to blow up, right?
Absolutely.
Basically, they've removed the merit from the NBA. That's what's happening.
Yep, absolutely. And Brian threw that boy under the bus, but we all gonna sit back, watch, laugh, and have a good chuckle and watch this barn fire.
I mean, it's going to be a train wreck that it's like you're at the edge of your seat, like, oh my gosh, like I can't wait for the next thing.
Yeah,
It's like a reality show
yeah.
that you think is trashy, but you're gonna still watch. So
It's like they should make the Lakers a Tubi movie
for
when it's
sure.
all
Oh
said
my
and done.
gosh. And like, with like grainy quality.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm here for it. I want to watch it. I want to see what the next season brings, and I'm waiting for it, man. I can't wait till the new season starts.
Yeah, I mean, well, Eddie TV, thank you so much for calling in. Really appreciate your comments and support of the channel. I can't wait to check out your content. So feel free to stop by
Oh,
anytime
absolutely.
and let's stay connected, okay?
Oh yes, absolutely. I watch you every time you go live. Trust me, I got
Thank you so much. It's
You,
wonderful.
I love everything that you're doing. When it comes to man down sports, you let your nuts hang on there, and you bring a lot of just, you're special. Let's just say that.
Well, I really appreciate that. And, cross connection is so much like very important in this space. So,
Mhm.
I definitely want to support you too. And I'll swing by Eddie TV and check out what you got.
Thank you, Dominique. You have a good night, love.
You too. Have a good night. Happy Saturday.
You too. All right, you too. Bye.
Bye-bye. All right, you guys. So we're going to go ahead and read some more comments on this. I saw a really funny comment. Where was it? I think it was, so Kilpie. Teague said, I believe in Braun like he was God Almighty. I mean, that was pretty hilarious. He's like, I believe in Braun. He just played the Olympics. He's got some, he's doing other things. He's on a mission. Isn't he on a mission every year? I mean, he makes guarantees and promises and checks that he just can't cash, right? So, it's really interesting. A billionaire that can't cash a check. Okay. Lakers would have been better versus Clippers or OKC. I agree with you. If they had to face OKC in the first round, perhaps they might not have gotten knocked out. Perhaps, but I still think a strong possibility of it. Can't wait to see the Laker clown show. That's right. Shout out to you, Troy James. Welcome in. If Bron and AD play 70-ish games, I think the Lakers will fall between 3 and 8. I think that they can make the playoffs. I do think that. I just think that how they're going to do it, the matchups, I just don't think that they're a true contender. I don't. We're going to be talking about the Lakers all season long. We're going to be talking about their games. They're going to have the most nationally televised games alongside Golden State. So it makes a lot of sense that we're going to continue to talk about them. Crazy AD gets passes, but Kawhi doesn't. I think they both get talked about poorly as far as injuries are concerned. They really do, especially when it comes to missing games. I don't think AD gets any pass. They have blamed him multiple times for the Lakers not, having the success that they were expected to have. House of David, Lakers signed nobody, so play-in may be a stretch, but that's true. The NBA had to create 10 seeds to push him into the playoffs. Oh my gosh. So the crazy thing is that what's funny is that the Lakers would have actually made the playoffs, I think, at least in 2023 without the play-in tournament, just because they were an 8th seed. So as an 8th seed, you've got to enter into the play-in tournament. But they would have made it in 2023 and last year with no play-in. Just being an 8th seed without, if this wasn't in existence. But even with that, they're still, their performance is just not what we're expecting, especially with LeBron James on the floor. We're saying that he's still a top 5, top 10 player in the league. That's ridiculous. Nobody really believes that, but that's what we're going to say. I just checked the Lakers roster and that bench is thin. If they get rid of the James family and put Jackson Hayes in the starting lineup, they could probably qualify for a play-in round. I mean, get rid of the James family. Look, Bronny's probably going to start. This is a real possibility that we need to explore, guys. Like, do we think that Bronny, like, do we think that he's going to morph into this NBA player? Because I heard that LeBron was yelling at him in practice recently. That, Bronny was guarding him and LeBron just bum rushed the lane on him, practically dunked on him or whatever the case may be. And then he gave it to Bronny for letting that happen. So, I think it's going to be interesting. I think that Bronny is going to suffer from a lot of mental health issues as a result of playing alongside LeBron, because if LeBron doesn't get think about it, they're going to wind up starting to blame Bronny. At some point, he's going to take the blame. His own son is going to get blamed when he turns over the ball. Bron isn't terrible off ball. He just doesn't do it much. He was good off ball with D Wade. The thing is that there was still a system of being able to bum rush the lane when he was playing on the Miami Heat. He's not a horrible player. I believe that LeBron can do a lot of things. He just doesn't do things that are conducive to playing team basketball. He does what allows for him to rack up the stats for points, rebounds, and assists. That's what he does. Because without those things, then he's not leading the league in all these stats all time. Troy James, LeBron is a great off-ball player. I think that he could be, but that's not what we see. Because, like I said, if he's not constantly with the ball, then he can't rack up all of the assists. He can't set himself up to take all the shots. And he can't, he can't pad the stats if he's not running and controlling the offense. Triangle is designed to keep the ball moving. Jordan and Shaq was just great. Actually hard to dominate how they did in the triangle. I think that the triangle allows for every single player on your team to have high function. That's what I think that the triangle allows for. And yes, you're moving the ball constantly. And I think LeBron is a ball stopper. He's a dribble, drive, kick. That's his game. It hasn't changed. He's played like this since high school. And I think that had he went to college, he might just be the GOAT. He might have learned some winning intangibles. He might have learned just how to play and have better fundamentals. I don't know. But we'll never know, right? Because he came straight from high school into the league playing the same way. I remember playing like that in high school. I remember just grabbing the ball. I knew that nobody was bigger than me, stronger than me, faster than me, and I could just run full head of steam and score. That's what I did in high school. But that's not something that's going to carry you into college and into the pros. Got to play team ball. Let's see. What else do we have here? I like the Lakers without the James family. I think they can rebuild quickly without LeBron and Bronny. If they moved off LeBron today, but that's not going to happen. So I don't see them rebuilding quickly once they leave. LeBron James is lost without the ball. He has no off-ball identity. That's why he can't exist with a point guard. It's why Russell Westbrook family was being tarnished. I mean, look, I think that he has the ability to play off the ball, but again, he won't, and he's not great at it. I don't think he's a great off-ball player, but I think he has been able to do it. At this stage in his career, he needs the momentum. He needs to be able to run with the ball, and he needs to be able to control the movements on the floor and what everyone else is doing or not doing. So if you just have to stand in the corner and let LeBron cook and be ready to shoot, that's the game now, because he can't do what he once was doing with the Heat anymore. I just don't think he's capable. Okay, guys. So now we are going to move on to the WNBA. I think that there's a lot to discuss there. A lot has been happening in the league. And quite frankly, we need to dive into it. We need to explore what's happening there. So much. There's just so much to talk about. Lots of comments. You guys are really engaging the chat. I love it. Hell nah, LeBron's can't play off no ball. He's a statue. Kind of like a mannequin, right? And yeah, I can see that totally. Yeah, shout out to Eddie TV. All media always talking about the Lakers or Cowboys. They dominate airwaves. Lakers, my squad, so it's tolerable. I mean, Dallas Cowboys, man. If that's supposed to be America's team, we're in trouble. But okay, we are going to move on to the WNBA. Like I said, lots happening here. As fun as it was talking about the Kardashians, the WNBA playoffs is a loaded topic. So first, we have to shout out the teams that have advanced to the semifinals. In every series, it was a sweep. So shout out to the Women's League. They are crushing it. This has been a historical season so far with tons of new viewership, lots of an injection of new fans, sold out arenas. So it's been a really great year for the league. These teams that advanced to the semifinals, they did an amazing job. We have the Aces who defeated the Storm. They really didn't have a chance. It wasn't close. They blew them out, I believe, in both games. The Liberty just skated by Atlanta. Again, very easy series for them. Clean sweep. And the Minnesota Lynx, they might have retired Diana Taurasi, who's a complete cone on defense and just really is not the player she once was. And it's time for her to hang up her shoes. Let's sunset her career now. And Nafisa Collier, she said it best that, right after game one in the post-game press conference, she said, look, we're looking to end Diana Taurasi's career in the next game. So the Connecticut Sun, they also swept the Indiana Fever. These were just all very exciting series. I want to play some sound bites from Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston after their playoff exit. They made some interesting comments, very positive press conference overall. So I'll play for you what they mentioned. Here's Caitlin Clark.
Yeah, obviously a tough one, especially because we climbed all the way back in and definitely had our opportunities late. And then a few different miscues, and it's back to a 2-possession game, and we couldn't quite get over the hump there. So, like AB said, it's a good little taste of, what's possible for this organization and for this franchise. And there's a lot for us to, hold our heads high about. This team won 5 games 2 years ago. So we're a young group, a pretty inexperienced group. But we came together and had a lot of fun playing with one another. And that's sometimes the worst part of it is you feel like you're really playing your best basketball and then it has to end. And but like I said, proud of this group, stayed resilient all year and had a lot of fun together.
What I noticed from Caitlin Clark is that it was almost as if she was disassociating herself from the team. She kept saying this group, and she even mentioned that they only won 5 games 2 years ago. She said, I listened to the whole press conference, and there were some other things that she said. She mentioned that basketball has been her whole life. This past year, she hasn't had much time for her personal life, which is, that makes a lot of sense for her to say that. She went straight from college into the league, which, happens pretty much to every WNBA player. They oftentimes, go straight from college into the league. They're also playing overseas. So they just play basketball in the women's league all year round. They almost never have a break. Aaliyah Boston, she speaks as well. And I felt like she was kind of cleaning up Caitlin Clark's comments a little bit, just because I don't think that them winning 5 games 2 years ago felt the best for her to hear as sitting right next to her. So I'll play for you what Aaliyah Boston mentioned as well.
Yeah, Aaliyah obviously coming in last year, going 13-7 or 13-27, then missing the playoffs, to the differences of this year of kind of going 2020, getting into this playoff push, just how can you characterize the differences between last year and this year?
Yeah, I mean, I think my rookie season, I think it was a rebuild year. And so when you're looking at a rebuild year, I mean, everyone wants to obviously jump to the championship and bring home a ring and everything. But I think when you look at basketball as a whole and when you look at where you start to where you are now, like it's about stepping stones. And I think in 2 seasons, we've made the right steps to go forward. And I'm excited for what the future holds because we won 13 my first season, now 20 this year. Like we're on the rise. And I think it's important to keep that as the focus because obviously you're not just going to come in and win a championship. There's so many franchises here that had to build. They had number one picks after number one picks after number one picks, and then they won championships. And I think everyone is just so in the rush for a ring in this moment. And obviously we would all love that because that's what everyone competes for every single day, especially just being a competitor. But I think just looking at where we are, we're in the right steps.
Front row left, Andrew.
Yeah, I felt like Boston, when she spoke, she was responding to a lot of the noise in the WNBA currently. And I thought that was really interesting, to say the least. When you think about just 2 years ago, Aaliyah Boston wasn't there. So when they won 5 games, they really didn't have any number 1 picks. They had Kelsey Mitchell. They had Nalissa Smith. Nalissa Smith was a number 2 pick. I forget. I think Kelsey Mitchell went 1, maybe not. Don't quote me on that. But yeah, they won 5 games 2 years ago. Last year, Boston was drafted as the number 1 pick to the Fever. She was also Rookie of the Year, and she more than doubled their wins alongside Kelsey Mitchell last year. So they went from 5 games to winning 13 games. Now, with the addition of Clark this season, they won an additional 7 games. I think Caitlin was a good addition for the team, but they've had to adjust. I dislike the narrative that Caitlin is making her teammates better. She even said it herself in the press conference. She says, I just want to make this team better. I want to make my teammates better. I take issue with that. These women are professional basketball players, just like the NBA players are professionals. I hate narratives that a guy or, a girl can make a player better on their team. Practicing together, these people are pros, okay? They don't just get to the WNBA for no reason, right? They got there because they're really great players, and there's not many teams, so the most elite women are in this league, and those are the facts. So that's part of why I hate that narrative, because these women, they work on their games every day. They make themselves better. You have to show up every day and you have to perform. Nobody can do that for you. Teams get better by practicing together and playing together. It's a collective, right? So collectively you win, collectively you lose. I don't personally think the offense Caitlin is running is making anybody better on her team. If you take a look at Kelsey Mitchell and Aaliyah Boston's stats from last year, they are identical to this year. They didn't do anything more than what they did last year. So the idea that they're making them, that Caitlin is making them better, I have an issue with it. You need to work on your own game before you can make other players on your team better. And I think Caitlin Clark is amazing, but she has some holes in her game that need to be worked on. Caitlin runs, she part of why I don't think that the offense she's running is making anybody better is because it's predictable. She hasn't made herself better this season. She looks exactly like she did when she played against South Carolina in this playoff series where teams figured her out. They played really solid defense. She looks just like she looked against South Carolina. Just a little bit better because, Raven Johnson had her completely clamped up. She did not she didn't give her a moment of space. So, Caitlin Clark has been, I think, predictable. It's easy to see what she's going to do. She's going to run down the court full steam, okay, hoping her team can deliver on a high screen so that she can either shoot from the logo or fall left in order to get to her spot to get her shots off. But teams crack the Fever code, especially the Sun, who had an incredible defensive scheme where they didn't even have to double team Caitlin. They got swept off the floor. Indiana Fever was swept off the floor. Okay. And the Sun had control of every game that they played against them. Their bench really beat the Fever with Marina Mabrey, Nelson Adota. She came up huge off the bench. You barely hear about her during the regular season. So shout out to the Sun, because I think that they played really great basketball against the Fever. DeWanna Bonner, Alyssa Thomas, they really came together as a veteran team. Dejanay Carrington, she had some really great game-changing moments. So, Connecticut Sun played very well. They deserve it. We have to give them credit. But with Indiana Fever exiting, some really unfortunate behavior has come and has been coming from Fever fans. Really, it's taken place all season long, but it's reached, I think, a fever pitch, no pun intended, and a boiling point for the league, for even Caitlin-Clark herself. She spoke out as well, as the sports world has just been unraveling over all of the racial tension in the WNBA. And it's not the WNBA, it's the fans just spewing a bunch of hate. They're threatening to boycott the WNBA playoffs. They will not watch because Caitlin-Clark is no longer playing. They're calling for players to be suspended. They said that Dejanay Carrington had long nails and she purposely tried to poke Caitlin-Clark's eye out. She gave her a black eye. Just all these narratives. Not that these women are just playing basketball. Forget the fact that Dejanay Carrington doesn't have long nails at all. I mean, it's just really, it's horrible. And it is really unfortunate. That's the best. It's disappointing. It's disgusting. Alyssa Thomas, she actually reacts to the racism directly after they eliminated the Fever, and I'll play it for you guys.
I think in my 11-year career, I've never experienced the racial comments from the Indiana Fever fan base. We had her face on a serious matter that happened in this world, and it's unacceptable, honestly. And there's no place for it. And we've been professional throughout the whole entire thing, but I've never been called the things that I've been called on social media, and there's no place for it.
It's a lot of athletes, not just in our league, who get attacked like this. And so I applaud the professionalism. We continue to encourage them to silence the noise, control what they can control. I don't go on social media for that reason, and it's protecting my peace. But I also realize that that's a privilege for me. And so I just encourage everybody to take a step back and think about if it's your sons or your daughters or your nieces or your nephews or your children, for goodness sakes, because if my children were being harassed like this, I'm not sure what I would do. I'm not sure what I would do.
That's a powerful thought.
Really just, I felt for them when they were speaking, because this is something that they've gone through all season long. When Caitlin-Clark was being defended, they were calling for these women to basically not play defense. They want to see Caitlin-Clark being able to hit her logo threes uncontested. They want to see her winning and performing well, regardless of whether or not her play dictates that. They don't care about that. These particular fans, they don't want to see. They didn't want to see Aaliyah Boston scoring when I think one of the first games that they won, Aaliyah Boston was the leading scorer, and Caitlin-Clark fans were upset. They said that they didn't want to see that. They only want to see Caitlin. When she wasn't selected for the Olympics, they boycotted the Olympics. I don't really quite understand it. It's worse than the LeBron fandom, quite frankly. And I never thought that I would say that in my life. Some really horrible things happen to not just the Chicago Sky team with Angel Reese. I've already covered that she was getting death threats and, followed home, and AI pictures sent to her family of her naked. It was just, that is really horrible in and of itself, but it continued. So directly after the Fever was eliminated, Dejanay Carrington was threatened as well. She has been harassed in email, just really horrible, horrible, horrible things, quite frankly. And so we can go ahead. I can show you what she was emailed. I mean, obviously, you guys can see that email that she has to the left. The subject, worthless NB. I hope someone rapes you and cuts your head off. That's an email that she received. And this is her. She's posting it on her in her Instagram story. And, you know, all season long, the WNBA, the commissioner, you know, really thought that this was all much to do about nothing. They refused to address these racist fans and these very dangerous fans. They refused to address them. The WNBA commissioner also even mentioned that this was good for the sport, that racism, misogyny, that, you know, homophobia, all these things, that it was good for the sport, that it was bringing attention like Magic and Bird. And I mean, WNBA players were extremely disappointed in the commissioner saying this, and you know, they came out with a statement. But now the WNBA is finally they are releasing a statement denouncing these fans, because I think the league is ready to revolt. I really believe that if the WNBA doesn't step in, that quite frankly, these players might go through a lockout, that they're willing to potentially strike. The WNBA is a competitive league with some of the most elite athletes in the world. While we welcome a growing fan base, the WNBA will not tolerate racist, derogatory, or threatening comments made about players, teams, and anyone affiliated with the league. League security is actively monitoring threat-related activity and will work directly with teams and arenas to take appropriate measures, to include involving law enforcement as necessary. I mean, it is necessary. These fans, you know, they're not willing to have any positivity. They're not willing to spectate, you know, this league with any kind of decency and respect. So, even Andrea Carter from ESPN, she weighed in as well. And here's what she had to say.
It's heartbreaking that in a time where our league is so exciting, the excitement around the league is at its highest, but the racial slurs and the derogatory comments and the online bullying are also at their worst. And that's the two things that we don't want. We want all the excitement, but it should be based on basketball only. This is a league that has thrived off of women that have competitive spirit and that want to play the game and that love playing the game. But it's also a league that's thrived off of women that truly take pride in inclusivity and diversity and welcoming others and protecting marginalized groups. And so there's no room for racism. There's no room for bullying. There's no room for derogatory comments. We love this sport. These players love to play this sport, and everything should be based about the game. Everything should be based about the game of basketball, because that's what these women love, and that's what all of these women are here for. So the fans that are giving those racial slurs, that are giving those derogatory comments, there's no space for them. As much as we want this league to grow, we will grow slower if it means leaving those fans out of the mix. It's hard.
Andrea Carter, she nailed it. I mean, growing the league is not worth the racism and hate. And I think WNBA players and WNBA fans that have been watching the league since its inception, like I have, you know, they're willing to let the league grow slower if it means removing these fans. What I got out of Andrea Carter's message was that she was willing to throw the baby out with the bathwater. I was talking to Mel from Mantown, and that's what he said. He was like, they're willing to throw the baby out with the bathwater if it means getting rid of these fans. And I couldn't agree with him more. That, I believe, is what, you know, I don't mind. I don't mind not seeing Caitlin Clark anymore in the league. Go start your own league. If you know, let her fans create a MAGA league, and you know, because this is just this kind of negativity and toxicity. It's just horrible, you know? And Caitlin Clark, I just don't think that she subscribes to this at all. I don't think she's welcoming these fans by any means. She has spoken out against them, not very strongly. She hasn't like staunchly pushed back against these fans, but when she's asked about it, she will respond. And I think she says she has the right way of addressing it. She doesn't want to ignite them because she doesn't want the fan base to turn on her, but she also doesn't want to condone bad behavior. So I'll play for you what she had to say as well in response to all of this racism, negativity, death threats. This is what she had to say.
Caitlin, when your head coach came out with a statement today saying she denounces all the racism that some people have felt in this league, players, trolls online, all those things, as one of the biggest stars in this league, what are your thoughts on the things not only your teammates have to endure, but just the entire league? And obviously, you've spoken on this before, but just now that your coach and your GM are talking about it as well.
Yeah, it's definitely upsetting. I don't think nobody in our league should be facing any sort of racism, hurtful, disrespectful, hateful comments and threats. Those aren't fans, those are trolls, and it's a real disservice to the people in our league, the organization, the WNBA. But there are a lot of really good fans, whether they've been fans for 20 plus years or whether they're new fans in our league. I think continuing to uplift this league in a very positive light is the best thing that we can do, because there are so many great players. There's so many great teams. There are so many positive storylines that can be written and celebrated. And for me, that's why I became a fan of this league, is these people were my idols. I grew up wanting to be like them. So I think continuing to uplift and, represent this league in a positive way is the best thing that we can do.
Okay, I have some very, I have some opinions about what she said, but I'm going to skip and play Nick Wright's soundbite because I thought that it was really interesting what he said. He was super angry about the racism, and he had like a 15-minute rant about what's happening in the WNBA, and I think it's important for us to play this. So, one moment.
And we have now reached a point where, and I apologize because she didn't ask for this, but it is incumbent upon Caitlin herself to be more vocal in shouting this down. When asked, she has given the right answers, and she didn't ask for any of this. She's a kid thrust into superstardom by her own athletic brilliance. And she is not accountable for the actions of her fans. However, this is a massive moment for her sport and her league. And you need people other than the people being victimized by these trash human beings to put up a wall against it. So I think Caitlin needs to be more proactive. I know Kathy Engelbert and the WNBA do. That woman should not have been allowed to remain in the stadium. That is an openly racist, defiant act. Somebody else tweeted, like, I've never been in a WNBA game before where there were MAGA hats. You can wear your MAGA hats. You're making a political statement, no problem. Now, it's an intentionally provocative political statement, just like wearing a Harris Waltz hat to a NASCAR event would be. You know the general demographic of the population you're walking into, but you're doing it to make a statement. No problem. You're trying to get a rise out of people. That's everyone's right. That shit that woman did, that she felt comfortable doing, going, by the way, not in the Indiana Fever Stadium, as an opposing team fan, was the visual representation of what these women in the league have been saying we've been dealing with all year. It's not actual Indiana Fever fans. It's not actual Caitlin Clark fans. It is people that want to see Black women humbled, that are using Caitlyn as an avatar for their own perverse hopes and desires. And at this point, there needs to be a full-fronted assault against it. Because this rubber band man can only stretch so damn far. And it is putting great Monica McNutt, Andrea Carter, people that are great journalists, great commentators, are consistently put in this awful position where, because the racists have spoiled the well for everyone, I would imagine, I haven't spoken with them and I don't want to speak for them, but I would imagine they feel at times almost an obligation to not only promote other players, but to try to balance the scales on an on-court perspective. When, from an on-court perspective, in my opinion, there's two overwhelming players this year: A'ja Wilson and Caitlin Clark. Doesn't mean she's second best player, but it means, given the story, her being a rookie, her performance.
Oh, brother. So lots to unpack in Nick Wright's commentary. So he was angry. He mentioned something that stuck out to me, which was that he thinks Caitlyn needs to denounce these fans louder. And I agree. That's necessary. These fans are not just trolls. Caitlyn mentioned that these are not fans, they're trolls. A troll is someone who's like making a joke online. This isn't a joke. Okay? So whoever on her team told her to refer to these people as trolls because that was safer to do than to call them what they are, which is racist. You know, it's upsetting. You know, these are not trolls. They are hateful, ignorant racists that need to be rejected. They are not trolling like this is some kind of joke. They are criminals waiting outside of the Chicago Sky bus, following Angel Reese, stalking her, harassing players. Harassment is a crime. Hate speech, all of that ties into, you know, crimes. They're criminals. This is just like kind of like January 6th all over again. They're ready to storm the Capitol over Caitlin Clark. That's what's about to happen. And it's essentially a huge race war happening right now. And who wants to talk about that? We just want to talk hoops. This is about basketball. You know, and I wanted to applaud Nick Wright because he's denouncing the racism, but at the same time, he then goes on to say that the only two players should be talked about is A'ja Wilson and Caitlin Clark. How do you go from A'ja Wilson to Caitlin Clark? And I get it. She is one of the prolific rookies that we've seen in the history of the sport. She's got a lot of hype. I get it. She is basically the Larry Bird of the WNBA. She is a straight white woman who, you know, can play basketball. And it looks like she's, you know, just basically running circles around these Black women that need to be humbled. I can't really get jiggy with that. It's weird. You know, Caitlin Clark is the second player that we should be talking about after A'ja Wilson. Even though Nafisa Collier had an MVP season, she was dominant. She just swept the shit out of the Mercury. She just dropped 42 points. But Caitlin Clark is the one that we should be talking about right now. I don't see how that makes any sense, honestly. And, you know, we do need to talk about Caitlin Clark. Fever made the playoffs. They haven't made the playoffs in years. She's a part of that. She's a part of that success. She's also a part of growing the WNBA exponentially in a matter of months. So there's a lot to celebrate that she's done. There's a whole lot to talk about as far as her talent, shooting, and passing ability. She's a fantastic player. But there's several other players in the league to talk about. And Nick Wright, Stephen A. Smith, they were one of the guys, they were the main people saying, hey, embrace Caitlin Clark so that we can talk about these other women. What happened to that? What happened to the narrative of Caitlin's bringing more visibility to other women in the league as well? She might not be the best player on the floor at the moment, but because she's here, these fans, these new fans, they get to be introduced to the other women in the league that are also really great. And you have to remember, there's 12 teams in the WNBA. That means that almost every single player in this league is fantastic. They belong there. They have earned their spot on a roster. WNBA is ruthless. They will cut you quick. Deja Fair was the leading NCAA scorer, and she was cut. She didn't even make it. She was cut very early from the Aces. They don't play around in this league. They fire coaches quickly, and they will let go of teammates quick if you're not the player that they need, if you're not fitting in with their team. So, it's just hyper disappointing what's happening right now. But this is not, again, these are not trolls. These are racist. These are dangerous people. They need to be stopped. It needs to stop. Hate speech should not be tolerated. Imagine sweeping the fever and opening your email and seeing that somebody's wishing that you get raped and that your head gets cut off. It's crazy. The league and everybody who is not a victim needs to speak out against it. Not just Black women, not just women from the LGBTQIA community, not just the people who are being victimized by these fans, but it needs to be the people that they think are, their little friend. It needs to be other white people. It needs to be other, men, white men in particular. Like, people need to come out and denounce this behavior and reject these fans. It needs to happen. This needs to stop. Yeah, very, very exhausting topic. WNBA it's exhausting right now to talk about. And obviously you guys saw, those messages, you saw the message from the league. It's just unfortunate. And I'm going to open up the phone lines. I want to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions on this. I am going to read some comments. I know this is a heavy topic, but I had to address it, and trust me, like, I don't want to talk about political issues. I don't want to get into I don't really want to get into these things. I love sports. I love basketball. And that's what I want to talk about. And the women's league is playing the best basketball right now. They are playing better basketball than the men. Women's college basketball was on fire this past year. They had more ratings than the NBA and the men's NCAA combined. That's how huge, Caitlin Clark and college basketball, women's college basketball was this past year. The WNBA, they have seen a huge injection as well. And I believe that the league is going to continue to grow. And, you can bet on women. You can bet on women's basketball. You can bet on women in sports. So, I think that this upcoming season, the next season is going to be an incredible year, and hopefully it's going to bring some more positivity. Let's see some comments here. Nick Wright hitting on the money. I think so, but something that he, like I said, the idea that Caitlin Clark is the second player that we should be talking about the most, it's annoying. And who is talking about A'ja Wilson? They will spend like 30 seconds, maybe even less, talking about her. Oh, we know A'ja Wilson is great, but let's just dive into talking about Caitlin Clark. That's all they want to talk about is Clark. There's just too much talent in the WNBA to be only focusing on one person. It's okay to talk about her and what she's doing and how successful she's been. I got to call you back, Nino. I don't know what happened.
Your call has been forwarded to voicemail.
I don't know what happened, Nino. You call me back when you get a chance, okay? I'm really curious to hear your thoughts on this topic. Really, I'd love to hear you guys. I'll read some comments while we're waiting for some calls. Hey, T-Bert, welcome back. I can hear you. One moment. Let me just add you to the sound.
Say it again.
Yeah, no, I'm here. Talk to me nice.
All right, Dom. Wow. This is a huge onion to peel back. It's
I know.
so
It's
multi-layered.
a lot. It's crazy because I got a bunch of calls all coming through at the same time, but I want to hear from everybody. So just unpack it, unleash T-Bert.
All right, I got it. All right, let me open with saying this. It's a shame, right, that we have to talk about this when it comes to the WNBA. I told you I was going to call on the next topic, and I was, but I was a little hesitant because it's just sad that we got to talk about this in 2024, right?
I know. It's so sad
and
ridiculous.
I've been with the WNBA since 1997. I'm a diehard, loyal Houston Comet fan, right?
Mm-hmm. I love the Comets. They need to bring them back.
Shout out to Cynthia Cooper, right? The GOAT.
Four straight titles, and they got rid of that team. Like, what kind of league is this?
Well, see, that kind of ties into sort of this topic of the NBA. The reason why they went under because they didn't have money.
Right.
Right. So they sold the team. They went under because they didn't have money because they didn't get the injection of wealth that the WNBA is getting now. Right. So let's get back to this now, this topic. Nick Wright, I disagree with 99.999% of what that man says 100% of the time. I disagree with his face. I disagree with his stupid hair. I disagree with his stupid eyes. I'm just not, it's not my cup of tea, right? But he hit a lot of good points, and he hit it the way it needed to be hit. And he reiterated something that you said. Caitlin Clark does need to denounce it more audibleized, right? Yeah. She could go harder. She could go louder. Yeah, she did denounce it, but, she could do it stronger. But at the same time, right, Caitlin Clark, unfortunately, she, in my age, she is she's a kid to me. But unfortunately, she has to realize with great power comes great responsibility. And she wields great power, whether she wanted it or she didn't want it or not. So she has to be responsible. This is one of those lessons that your parents warn you about. Sometimes you got to grow up before you're grown. And she has to realize the power that she wields, right? And unfortunately, to us in America, we have to put that kind of pressure on that child, right? But she has to realize she is Caitlin Clark, and she wields a lot of power. But, I agree with everything you said. I mean, it's just I really wanted to just talk about uplifting the WNBA game. I've been waiting for decades for them to get this notoriety. I've been waiting for decades for them to pay these women. I've been waiting for decades for these women to get embraced and loved by the American society like they are now, right? I wanted to talk about the playoffs, how great the actual playoffs were. I wanted to talk about why Indiana lost. Wanted to talk about
it. Let's talk. Like, why do you think that they lost that series?
Well, it's simple. They have a big three, which is they're always going to have the firepower to compete. They can go bucket for bucket with any team in the W. But what they lack is defense. They don't have a defensive identity at all. Caitlin Clark,
she disappears on defense. She hides, right?
Right now, Caitlin Clark. Now, I'm a fan. I'm big on her. but I see her deficiencies. And defense, she is absolutely horrible. She loses her woman on her assignment where she left open some baseline threes because she turned her head. She gets backdoored because she doesn't know how to play effective defense. Her footwork is super heavy and slow on defense, right? I'm not picking on her.
No.
Their
I
team,
mean, they don't defend well. They really don't.
No.
Lexi Hull is a good defender. I think Temi is a good defender at times. You know,
they're not a good team defender because they don't have that dog. See, Aaliyah Boston is a dog on offense, but she's not that dog on defense. They don't have that intimidator. They don't have that lane protector. They just don't have that grit in them. And their head coach does not instill that in them. And also, I watched game one, right? I wanted to see if their coach could make the necessary adjustments to get them back in the game. And I just felt like she didn't do it. So I think they lost for
even that inbound pass that Lexi threw. She shouldn't have been the inbounding.
She sure shouldn't have.
The play wasn't going to be for Caitlin, so Caitlin should have been inbounding since she's such a great passer, right?
Absolutely, yep.
So
and I wanted to say,
sense.
And so they lost because of all the things that I said. But here's another important factor that the average fan might not see. That pace that they run is unsustainable.
Yeah, they can't do it all 4 quarters. They can only do it quarters 1 through 3. And then even then, teams have been able to stop that. Come playoff time, that's not going to work because they're going to create a strategy for you. And that's what they do.
And it wears their team out by the end of the third to the top of the fourth. That run and shoot
for defense.
No, that Lakers Showtime offense, they just it's not sustainable right now for them. And also, here's the second half of that. When it's not sustainable, they don't get the easy transition buckets. If you look at their half court offense, they don't have one. They literally have no half court offense.
No, they have to run full steam, and that's it.
Oh, absolutely. So, let me just progress into something else. Also, with the WNBA topic, I wanted to talk about the firing of the Chicago Sky head coach T. Spoon. Right?
Yeah,
that's something.
Let's talk about
that. That's what we should be talking about. We should be uplifting the WNBA, talking about the positive things, the not so positive things, but the racial aspect of it. Unfortunately, Dom, you have to address it because it's real and it's there.
That's why I'm not even talking about Teaspoon's firing. I had to push that off.
Right, because we gotta
who might be the coach. That'll be a whole nother topic because
all right, so I'll save that.
Going to be too much.
I'll save that so we can get some other calls at time. So let's get back to the racial thing real quick. It's deplorable. Right? It needs to be censored and eradicated, not only out the W, but out of this country. But here's the problem. I'm not the smartest guy in the world, and I'm not the dumbest either, right? This country was founded and built upon racism, bigotry, and slavery, right? And it's still affecting the mindset of some people, a lot of people in this country today. And also, I'm not going to get into the political aspect because this is a sports show. I'm just going to just hint on it. This country is the most separated I've ever seen. It used to be like, in the real racist times in the 60s and 70s, whites versus blacks. Now, you got whites versus whites, whites versus blacks. You got Dems versus Republicans, MAGA versus Republicans, MAGA versus Dems. Like, this country is so divided now, and it has leaked its spoilage over to the W. And Caitlin Clark came and Angel Reese came at the most divisive time when the WNBA was dying. and they brought back Larry Bird and Magic Johnson, right? And if you were around to, old enough to watch that, which I was, it was in the 80s, and the NBA was dying. The shows weren't even televised. They were on tape delay, and they got the Great White Hope, and then they got Magic Johnson, right? And what it did was it injected more fans to come, a lot of fake fans too, because it was strictly whites versus blacks, right? But somehow the NBA managed it. They managed it, whatever they did to manage it, and the NBA is thriving. I think that W as a whole, I think they're mismanaging it. I think they're mismanaging it.
I mean, look, the NBA is really managing it. So
right.
The WNBA is just an extension of the NBA. And when you have, I think, a bunch of men truly managing, women, it's just not, of course, WNBA does not have the right leadership and management. I mean, Kathy Engelbert,
no, they don't.
What has she been doing? Look at the deals, look at the lowball deals that they've negotiated for the WNBA, given the surge that's happened this year. So, there's a lot to unpack. One of our really great callers, Tony, he actually beeped in. So I'm going to call him back. T-Bird, thank you so much for just being so active, engaging. Your calls are amazing. And I can't wait to hear from you again.
So, all right, I got you on the next topic. Talk to you.
Thank you so much. All righty.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye. Nino, talk to me nice.
Man, I believe I got an unpopular opinion on this one.
It's okay. Give it. I don't, this is really, and I'm going to say this again for everybody in the room, this is truly a safe space to share different opinions. If I don't agree with you, that's okay.
Well, I'm one of them that believe two things to be right at one time. What I mean is, I think they should have a meeting. Can you hear me pretty good?
I can hear you. Yeah, you're saying that two things can be true. You think that there should be a meeting. We can hear you. I think the sound is really good.
I think it should be a meeting with the ladies and say what's important. How important is the money? Is the bag? We always thought that they wanted the NBA exposure and the NBA bag close. I don't think they're gonna get to. They got a long way to go till they get to the 100 millions, the 50 millions, but. I think everybody agrees that it should be a contract talk coming into work. When you see Juju coming, you got Caitlinclark, Asia Wilson, the names, you starting to get the names now. The talent always been there. So Maya Moore, Asia Wilson, she might be close. She might be the best I've seen, but Maya Moore still probably my favorite. And she could play right now and be a superstar when she was playing. So let me focus on what I'm trying to say is the bag don't come without no turmoil, without trouble. You're gonna have the bag. This is what the bag comes with. The racist fans, the Caitlinclark fans, the Chicago fans, the Angel Reese fans, this is what the money comes with. Because if you ever, when the last time you been to a concert, a rap concert?
Rap concert? It's been a while that I've been to. I think the last one I went to see like Schoolboy Q.
Schoolboy Q.
Yeah.
Okay. The most rap concerts. I'm gonna use that for example. A big artist. Do you know most of the fans in the crowd are not black? The ones that do concerts?
Yeah.
Most of them are white.
Right. Yeah.
So the money is gonna bring hate like LeBron James. LeBron James make money just off a lot of his haters and his dollars just in what he's paying. Yeah. So this is what it's sad. Now I would love a perfect world where it's not gonna happen, but it's just not the way they think it's gonna go. oh, it's all gonna be based on just basketball, just talent. It's never gonna happen. You're never gonna get paid
I
this
know
way.
it's not. Listen, I know it's not going to be based on basketball and talent only. Okay, I know that there's going to be other things that we talk about interpersonally, like, oh, this person wasn't getting along with their coach, that, this person had a bad relationship with the organization. Those things are all normal. But I mean, think about the percentage of players in the league that are Black. Why do they have to go through things like this?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know why.
I hope someone. So let's just read the subject line of this email. Worthless nigger bitch. I hope someone rapes you and cuts your head off. I don't think LeBron is getting emails like that.
Oh, I guarantee. I guarantee it.
I
guarantee
even if he is, Dejanay Carrington isn't making the money that you're saying that she should care about. So you have to understand that the rest of the league hasn't caught up to where Caitlin Clark is. She's got the $25 million Nike deal. She's got the endorsement. So does Angel Reese. They're making boatloads of money. These other women, they have to play all year long. They have to do all sorts of things to try to supplement their income. They don't. Do you know what the salary is for a WNBA rookie? Is only $75,000.
$75,000. Yeah. I agree with.
Make way more money than that. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just a regular person.
I agree. Oh, I'm not saying that it's right. That's what I'm getting.
I know you're not saying that it's right. I just don't think that growing the league comes with things like that. And, the women in the league are rejecting these fans. They're saying, hey, I'd rather the league grow slower than to have racism, misogyny, and all these things. Hate, threats, terroristic threats, whatever you want to call them. So I agree with you that, yes, the WNBA needs to make more money. They want more money. They want to see the league grow. But at the end of the day, like, it's not, there needs to be some integrity in that. Not all business is good business. And I know you've heard that expression before. I have had to say, hey, I'm not willing to work with you. You do not, your morals and values do not align with mine. And, there's a point where there's always a point. That's all that I'm saying. And I think that the WNBA, the players in the league, have also reached that point of saying, hey, we're not going to tolerate this. It's been going on all season long. I
don't think it's gonna stop. That's what I think. That's what I'm trying to say.
But they need to continue to come out against it. It's not going to stop, but they need to continue to come out against it. You can't just ignore it when it's this blatant. When you have a woman, so the person that Nick Wright was talking about in the soundbite, there was a white woman. She went to the Sun game, and this is played at Connecticut Sun's home. Okay, she came in with a shirt on that said "Ban Nails." And, that was because of the whole Dejanay Carrington supposedly poking out Caitlin Clark's eye. It's just the constant hate. It needs to stop, and it's not going to stop, but it at least needs to subside. We're not going to live in a perfect society. I hear you when you're saying that, but we can't just sit back and tolerate things like this. Women getting harassed, stalked, that shouldn't be happening. These women, they don't make enough money for that. Okay, there's not.
But that's what I agree.
They don't make enough money. So if LeBron got that death threat, imagine that death threat doesn't even probably reach LeBron. He's just hanging out with his billionaire, paychecks, but he's not thinking about that. I mean, he's come out and said, hey, while you guys are hating on me, you're gonna go back to your regular nothing life, getting up and going to work every day, sad and miserable, while I'm going to be out here enjoying millions of dollars for me and my family, or whatever it is that he said. So
LeBron is maybe not. We'll go back before, because what I'm trying to get to, I'm not, because they're not even going to hear me. What they are doing right now are laying the ground foundation.
Right.
I understand you're exactly right. So that's why I said it need to be a meeting. Are y'all willing to grow this? Because y'all gonna go through some stuff. It's not gonna stop. Fans are crazy. They are. Do you? I know you have heard the fans talk about playing in Boston.
Look,
It's the same thing, and it's to this day.
It's
I
just
don't
not
think
the
it's gonna stop.
same. To me, it's an entire fan base injected into this league now, and it's so bad that they're calling for basically for defense to be removed from the league. It's just too much, Nino. It's just kind of like think about what you're saying. Like, okay, well, these things are going to happen, so we should just let it. We can't just let it. You actually have to do something. And I'm not saying that you should do something. I'm not saying that I should do something. But the WNBA, the league, they do need to step in. They need to step in and ensure that these women are safe, that they're playing in a safe environment at the very least. So thank you so much for your call, Nino. I'm going to call Tony back, and we're going to move on to the last topic of the night.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Appreciate it.
Alrighty. Thanks so much.
What's cracking, lacking? Good morning.
Hey, Tony. Good morning. How are
How you doing?
you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm
pretty
good.
good too. Talk to me nice. Tell me what you think about any of the topics that we discussed tonight. I know you were trying to call in.
Okay. With regards to Nino and what he said, no disrespect, bro. Poor analogy. Really poor analogy. We're talking about a man that's a billionaire as opposed to a league that doesn't even have $10 million. Okay? Like you said, you got to go overseas to earn a living after you hoist the WNBA championship. However, on certain platforms on YouTube, what do I read? Stop crying, bitch. Stay in the kitchen. It's a man's world, which is so damn disrespectful. Now, let me paint this picture for all these fools out here with this hater nonsense. Let me paint this picture for you, okay? Especially for hating on my era, the 90s, hating on Bill Russell's era, 40s, 50s, 60s, et cetera, et cetera. Imagine this before you guys spew your bullshit. Imagine me and a black man in the late 50s. Every county you go to, you're on the road. But know this, maybe 1 in 100 hotels will allow a black man to stay in their hotel. So what are black athletes and other athletes of color forced to do? When you're on the road, you got to stop by a bed and breakfast, or you got to find the nearest black home who can take your ass in. Gets better. You know what, guys? It's been a long week. We all played hard. Tell you what, why don't we go out and get a couple burgers? Come back. All right, sounds good, guys. Yeah, that's a swell idea. Let's step out. You guys go out for an hour. You let blow off steam. You're not thinking about basketball. You're not thinking about anything. You just want to have a good time with the guys.
Mm-hmm.
However, 10 white guys had a different idea while you guys were out for 2 hours. You come back and, the gracious host, be it the black home that you were staying in or the bed and breakfast, you come back, it's totally destroyed. Not only is it totally destroyed, but everything you own and everything they own happens to be wiped with fecal matter. You got shit wiped all over everything that you own. Worse, what do? They take shit and they smear nigger go home on the walls. Every wall in the residence, nigger go home. Nigger, we don't want you here. Nigger, there's no place for you. Putting all that into context, keep that in mind when that very night you have to go in front of a white arena, 10,000 people who are screaming even more how much they hate your black ass.
Right.
These are the guys who set the precedent for these assholes today to make 500 million, and you want to shit on them. You want to sit up here on Facebook, on Instagram, TikTok, and every goddamn platform you can think of. You want to shit on them, say how much they suck, how much they ain't do shit. They were slow, they weren't fast enough, they weren't strong enough. These dudes have laid the foundation for the bullshit that you're spewing today. Getting to the point with Caitlinclark,
My issue with the WNBA is two things. One, how dismissive they were. Just really dismissive about the racist problem.
Absolutely.
And two, Clark, it was bullshit at her press conference. Why? She didn't come out and say it. She didn't have to. But what I heard was, it's not my fucking problem.
Right.
That's what I heard. So
she said it before. She basically said it like that earlier in the season. So she was asked about the same thing, and she was just like, basically she has nothing to do with it. Like,
right.
That's pretty much
please
what she's
pardon my
saying.
language. I'm sorry.
Look, we have to keep it real here. This space is really for us to be ourselves. So,
Gotcha.
I'm here for it.
I got you. Just I respect your show.
Tony.
None of that's
Oh,
necessary.
yeah. No, I really appreciate the respect. You show a lot of love, Tony, and I really appreciate your takes and just how you see it through your lens. So thank you so much for sharing. But you're right. You're right about a lot of what you said, and it's truly unfortunate. And
it's very unfortunate.
What I loved about this comment here by Chirac Maybach is Black Trump supporters will defend the emails. They will say it had nothing to do with race. And I mean, we see that a lot, right? Like, yeah, I'm Black, but I'm not standing with this because, it's not about race. I don't subscribe to that. I'm with you guys, but I'm not with you on that. And, I can't get jiggy with that. And I always let any Black person that's in my circle know how I feel about the secondhand embarrassment kind of theory that they get and have, like, oh, I'm not that kind of Black person. I'm not going to make everything about race. That I don't subscribe to that. Well, when it is about race, we have to call it out. That's the thing. So everything is not about race, but sometimes it is. And in this case, it is about that. So
can I piggyback off the Trump take real quick?
Yeah, sure.
For everyone who's listening on this live, this platform, understand this. Spare me the crap about, it's not about race this, it's not about race that. Always know this. When you support someone, you inadvertently support every damn thing they do.
Right.
You can sweep it under the rug all you want. It's not about racism this, it's not about racist bullshit. You support them. Man, I don't support that, but you are supporting the cause. You're supporting the purpose. Whether you like it or not, you're still supporting it. Period. End of discussion. Stop it. Help me out here. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, I put my hand up.
I mean, look, we have a Black Trump supporter in the audience. He said, I'm a Black Trump supporter. And by the way, guys, no matter what you support, I'm not mad at you. Okay. So I'm a Black Trump supporter. Not true. At least someone who isn't Black is being promoted as Black, and I'm falling for it like most of us. Okay. Well, look, I don't really have too much of an opinion on that. I mean, I do, but I'll save it for another time, a separate time.
Actually, I got a quick opinion on it.
I know, but I don't really want to get, I want to really
I got you to stay away from politics. I got
not even to stay away from politics, but I want to be on topic. Does that make
There-
sense?
there you go. There
Maybe
you go.
one day will come up and we have to talk about that as well. But I just, I'm not here to bash, anybody's political beliefs. This is really
Neither
just
am I.
a safe space to chat about sports and the landscape surrounding the WNBA right now in the playoffs.
Right.
So
And I apologize to the Black Trump supporter. I'm not trying to whistle him. I'm just trying to emphasize the fact that when you support something, you support all of it.
for sure.
Inadvertently or
that,
advertently.
and
That's all I'm
that
trying to say.
that is totally fair. And, I totally can hear that. So, Tony, thank you so much for calling in. I do want to
No
talk
problem.
about the
Thank you.
Knicks
Thank you.
because, they had a big trade. So we have a lot to talk about there too. And,
Exactly.
and at some point we all have to go to sleep. So I have one more
I heard
topic
that.
left and, I'll get you guys out of here. Okay.
Gotcha.
All righty, Tony. Thanks so much for calling in and all of your support. It really just means a lot to me. So thanks again.
Peace. Thank you.
All righty. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, guys, I'll read a couple more comments and then we've really got to get back to the next topic, Knicks off season. So, okay, so you support a woman who isn't black being labeled a black. Okay. Like, we're going to move on from, politics. Okay, guys, we really got to get into the Knicks. So that's what we're going to do. Okay. Yeah. I'm just particularly like super excited for the Knicks. Someone who grew up as a Knicks fan, I'm from New York. I'm living out here in the Bay now, and the Knicks are just so dear to my heart. I grew up being a Knicks fan and rooting for them. It's always been such a gift and a curse, sort of like the Clippers. The Knicks sell hope, the hope that we can contend, right? And finally, between Leon Rose and Brunson's father, I have faith in this team. They have become one of the teams in the league to beat. They went from being like a little engine that could to a potential contender with some of the moves that they've made over the last 2 seasons or so. So, obviously bringing Jalen Brunson on, it was a steal. His contract was just so low, and he even re-signed for a lesser contract just to make sure that he could have pieces that he needed to contend for a title. So I'm very proud of Jalen Brunson. He grew up around the NBA. His father was an NBA player as well. And he just clearly has the right support around him and the right team. And like I said, I couldn't be more proud of what he's been able to accomplish since getting away from Luka and the LeBron style of basketball that Luka plays with the Mavericks. We weren't able to see what he could really do until he came to the Knicks. And it's just been so exciting. Look, the verdict is not out. I mean, the verdict is still out based on all of the trades that they've had. I personally knew that they would need in this upcoming season a center in order to truly contend. So I didn't think that they could make another deep playoff run without a center. I definitely didn't see them getting out of the second round without one. So, they went out and got one. They went out and got a center, and I'm not mad at it. Karl Anthony Towns, I think it's a controversial trade in a way, just because I haven't seen Cat do anything spectacular with Minnesota. What we did was we traded Julius Randle and DiVincenzo for Karl Anthony Towns. And so I was super, super happy to get rid of Julius Randle. He was just the bane of my existence. Of anybody who has been following the Knicks and watching their journey, he was super, super disappointing. Losing to the Hawks the way that they did. I think he averaged like 8 points in the playoffs after coming off of being most improved player and really just being the Knicks' leading scorer. It was just very disappointing how he showed up in the postseason. So, for me, I totally happy to get rid of Julius Randle. For me, the only thing that bothers me about the trade is giving up DiVincenzo, because this is a guy who is a fantastic shooter. He was able to prove that he can score 40 points in a playoff game when there's pressure defense. Cat never showed me anything in a playoff series, so I have concerns about letting go of such a lethal shooter in Dante. But like I said, I'm singing hallelujahs because we're finally rid of Julius Randle. And, I do want to show you guys the starting 5 that the Bleacher Report thinks is a potential. So, and I do want to hear from you guys and know what you think about it as well. Let's see. I am going to read some comments before I show you the starting lineup just to see what your thoughts are. Yes, father was Rick Brunson. Really solid guy, just stand-up guy. I like Rick Brunson a lot. Yep, totally a safe place for everybody's opinions to be heard. So continue to share them, guys. Even if, you think that I don't agree, everybody is going to be respected in this space. That's something that I can promise you guys. Let's see. Knicks have definitely made aggressive moves to position themselves, hopefully to realistically compete for a championship in the immediate/near future. I agree. They're finally running their team in a way that makes sense, right? I'm sorry. I don't mean to have you up late, but I was just trying to get you guys some content. I've been a little bit behind. Julius Randle just has the body of a guy who doesn't really care about basketball. It's crazy because he's big. He brings size. I was hyper concerned. Like for the last 2 seasons, I've wanted to get rid of Julius Randle. I've been pissed that the Knicks have continued to roll with him. And I thought that he was going to have to finish his entire contract with the Knicks. I really, really did. And, you know, when I thought about, okay, well, we need to trade him, we need to get rid of him, I said to myself, well, who the hell are we going to get? When you think about power forwards and centers in the league, there's just not a lot of them that bring true athleticism and size that can, that can play the perimeter and the paint. And, Julius Randle, he did bring some of that to the team. And it was hard to decide, okay, well, how are we going to trade him? How are we going to move off of him? Who are we going to get? And, when you take a look at the landscape, there was just really no power forward that was available in order to replace his size and physicality. So, super happy that Julius Randle is traded. He just didn't have the mindset to play in New York. When he played bad, he would mope around. The press would eat him up. He could not handle the New York media. It's tough. It's not for, someone with thin skin or someone who wants to be sensitive all day. And I think that Julius Randle, he really couldn't hack it there. Okay. Yes, Rick Brunson, who used to play for the Knicks. Yep, that's part of the history that that Jalen Brunson feels so connected to the Knicks. That's why he had been slated to go there for a while. His father's a part of the organization. He has a great relationship with Leon Rose, so everybody kind of knew he was going there. And I believe the Mavericks tried to pop the Knicks for tampering. That's the crazy thing. Back then when he was traded, I'm pretty sure that there was like a tampering case against the New York Knicks. Thank you so much for staying up. I really, really appreciate you guys hanging out late with me. It's just I'm really blessed to have you guys here. Yep, that LeBron and Luka style, dominating the ball the whole game, trying to score or assist on every play. That's the most selfish style of basketball. It's all about stat stuffing. And I mean, what else could it be about? It's definitely not about team play. That's for sure. Yeah, I try to give you guys some early morning tea, some late night tea, whenever I can, really. Cat's going to clog up Brunson's operating space on the perimeter and not protect the rim. Wolves won this trade. I think what they got was a better perimeter shooter, but Dante is not necessarily like... It's hard to say. It's hard to say because I don't think that he's always been utilized in the right way, but I think that the Wolves are going to win from a shooting perspective for sure. And I think that Karl Anthony Towns, he doesn't really hit big shots down the stretch. So what does his perimeter shooting even matter? And I hate the fact that he hangs out on the perimeter. Get your ass in the paint. I have the same feedback about Embiid. They're like very lazy players to me, and it's annoying to watch. And I think that he needs to develop a much better post game. Like Embiid is capable. We've seen what he's been able to do on the perimeter and in the post. But Cat is just like so inconsistent with that. And I'm concerned. I'm concerned that he doesn't have the mentality for the culture that the Knicks have. They play a lot of minutes. Is Tibbs going to play him into the ground the way he does the rest of the team? I don't know. It's going to be, and there's a lot of pressure because there's no depth at the center position either. It's really interesting. Mikal Bridges is there. They're basically the Villanova Knicks. I mean, let's be serious. Even though Dante DiVincenzo is now gone, they had 4 players from Villanova and now they have 3. And Villanova guys, they can play. When you come from Jay Wright and Villanova, we know that you have one high basketball IQ, and we know that you have grit. East Coast players, they bring a lot of grit, and that's what you're seeing right now in the Knicks, the will and the hunger to win games. Not just regular season games, but they push it for the postseason. They did whatever. They were like the little engine that could in this past season because they didn't have the personnel. They didn't have Julius Randle, a starter. They didn't have there were moments where multiple people were injured. They didn't have all their players. OG Anunoby is in and out, he's a great defender. I just think that, they have more pieces now. They're right there, but I don't know what Karl Anthony Towns is going to do and deliver for the Knicks until I see it. So I need to see, does he really have it? Does he have, does he have the mentality? Because with the Knicks, it's really about a mindset. It's not just about your skill and ability. Those guys can play and they do what it takes down the stretch. They do what it takes to win as a team, not just to look good as an individual player. And that's what I love about the Knicks right now. And Jalenbrunson is spearheading that. The way that he's just a great scorer as well as a great floor general. And I think he's the best point guard in the league. That's my opinion on Jalenbrunson. Super proud of him and the Villanova guys and what they were able to accomplish this last season. And I think it can only get better from here. So, I am going to put up the starting 5 lineup that the Bleacher Report thinks is a potential for the Knicks. And I want to hear from you guys what you think. So, at point guard, obviously it's Brunson. At the number 2 role, they're going to put Bridges there, which I think is a good fit for him. Forward, a small forward, Josh Hart. Power forward, OG Anunoby. Center, Karl Anthony Towns. I don't know that. Yeah, this is Mikal Bridges playing guard. I'm fine with, just because he doesn't have like, it's tough to say because I've seen him play forward roles and he's a great wing. He's long, he can defend. Like, what's good about him playing in a guard position is we know he's going to be a great perimeter defender. I think he was robbed, quite frankly, of Defensive Player of the Year. What was it, 2 years ago when he was with Phoenix? So I'm super excited to see what Bridges is going to do alongside Brunson. Josh Hart they were calling him the heart of New York. That was really special to see. Fans were just electrified all over New York City, and the Garden was on fire last year. So I am really excited. OG Anunoby brought a defensive skill set to the Knicks that was just amazing. He was able to lock people up and really he was just a great addition. So shout out to the Knicks for everything that they've been doing. Karl Anthony Towns at the center position, I don't know how much I believe in him as a true center. The Timberwolves had to bring in Rudy Gobert, I think, to play alongside him because I don't know that he's a real center. And so I need to see, is Thibodeau going to be able to impact Karl Anthony Towns? Is he going to get him playing better defense? Is he going to get him playing in a certain way that is really going to be conducive to this team making it to the Eastern Conference Finals? Because that's what I'm looking for. I don't know that it's going to happen this season, but I want to see them in the ECF. To me, that should be at minimum the goal for them to face Boston. I think that's what everybody's looking for in the East. That's the kind of competition that they want. And that's quite frankly what I want to see. Either the Knicks versus Philly or the Knicks versus Boston. So everybody thinks that Philly is going to be, this incredible team with PG and Embiid. I don't see it. I think either of them will be injured at will or just collapse like they typically do. But what do you guys think? What do you guys think about this starting lineup? Do you think that, do you think that the Knicks are going to contend or are they going to pretend? Are they contenders or pretenders? Talk to me nice. Tell me what you think. I'm really curious. I'm going to read some comments while we're waiting on some calls to come through. Just so you guys know, I am biased, not just because I'm from New York, but also I graduated from Villanova. So it is really just a great school for basketball for men and women. They have a great program there. And, when I see these guys playing together and playing as a team, it's just so special. We don't really see basketball like what the Knicks are bringing. We don't see cultures like that on teams anymore. So let's see what you guys have to say. I'm going to read off some comments. The Knicks' growth accelerating faster now, but what's going to happen after now? Exactly. I think that's what the verdict is still out, right? Cat could be an amazing acquisition or a disastrous move. Well, I work graveyard shifts, so this live was greatly appreciated. It's slow at work. Oh, I'm so grateful that you were able to get through your shift. I know what that's like. I used to work overnights back in the day, and it's hard. You need a little something. I used to have a Red Bull and a coffee heading into work, and yeah, it was tough. By the way, T-Bert, welcome back. Talk to me nice.
Hey,
what do you think about these Knicks?
What's up, Dom? Of course, I'm gonna talk to you nice. All right. So, for the people that don't know, I'm from Philly, so I'm really connected with a lot of the Villanova players, and I actually met a lot of them. The trade. I love DiVincenzo. I think he's a dog. And I think if given the correct opportunity on any NBA team, he's a bona fide starter. Just a little short to be he's like a hybrid 1-2, but I think he's a bona fide starter. So I think that was a loss. Julius Randle. Yeah, DiVincenzo.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that was a big loss. He was a dog.
Even from back when he was in Golden State, I used to think that like Jordan Poole, I used to think that they were wasting minutes on Jordan Poole and he should have been in the game.
Oh, absolutely. Dog. And he has high IQ. Julius Randle. Not a fan of his game. And lately, the last 2 years, he's been a little injury prone.
Right. If he was healthy and reliable, like I could have there could have been a better case for me not to basically hate him. The spinning in the lane in the fourth quarter and turning over the ball just from spinning in the lane was just so aggravating. And that was his go-to move to turn the ball over in the fourth quarter.
Even when he was with the Lakers, he was injured. So he's just been injury prone. And I think, don't quote me, he's 29 and Cat is 28. So you got a year younger, maybe a little healthier. But Julius Randle game, he has a wild, ugly game. And one of the worst things for him was
when that left hand and that shot.
Hey, that's what I was about to say.
I want to throw up in my mouth. Honestly, I could just throw up in my mouth by watching him shoot the ball.
Absolutely. And one of the worst things that he brought to your team was when he did shoot a three, if it went in, you can guarantee 4 more is going to follow. And I just don't think he was a suitable 3-point shooter. But he shot a lot of threes because, that's the league today. So getting rid of Julius Randle, okay, you can live without it. No problem. Now let's talk about, is Cat an upgrade or not? So you got a way better 3-point shooter. So the floor, one of the people in the comments said that Cat was going to clog the lane up. I disagree. Cat is going to open the lane up because he's going to camp on the sideline threes. That's where he's going to make his living.
So
and
he's actually the comment was that he was going to clog the perimeter, which was going to hurt Jalenbrunson's game.
Okay, well, I if you can clog a perimeter, but I mean, maybe I don't know that much about basketball, but I learn something new every day. But anyway, I think he's going to space the floor, and where Jalen operates at, he operates foul line and below, which is going to open the lane up for him. So Julius Randle on the offensive, Cat on the offensive side was an addition. But offensively, you can't pay me to believe that he's really 7 foot. And he doesn't look 7 foot to me. I never met him. But he doesn't look 7 foot. And he needs to, like you said, get your big, hefty ass in the post. But we're in the era today where back in the day, basketball is played inside out. It's now outside in, which is backwards. The first moves that big men learn, right, in the low post when you get your footwork right, is drop step. Cat, can you get a drop steps? Like, for God's sakes, that's just rudimentary. Rudimentary big man low post game. Can I get a drop step? So he needs to get his stuff down low. Will he do it? I don't know. But now let's talk about defense. Cat can defend bigs in the league, right?
He can. He
So
just doesn't do it consistently.
will
He doesn't
he?
do it at a high level. It's like
See,
he
I'm
decides when he wants to defend. It's like the
Right.
coach has to go to him and be like, "Hey,
Mhm.
I really need you to defend tonight." Like, it needs to be like this big ask of him. And it's like, bro, do your job.
I'm going to quote the great Dom from Sports T. New York Knicks basketball is not just basketball. It's a mentality. He needs to indoctrinate and incorporate that New York dog mentality. If he adopts that mentality and takes that mentality on the defense with those super long arms, he'll be fine on defense. I think you have a very strong defensive team. If Cat comes to play 82 games like a dog, if he cares more about defense than offense, I think y'all have one of the best, top 8 defensive teams, right? Now let's just go to championship contender or Eastern Conference contender or whatever. Me being a historian, I kind of rely on history. And unfortunately for you, Dom, I hate to bring bad news, right? If
Go
you look at
ahead.
the history,
Just bring it up, just
I'm gonna bring it.
Just bring up 1994.
I'm talking about the whole history of the NBA. If you look at all the championship teams who ever won a championship, it's very few, if not rare, that your main scorer is under 6 feet and leads your team in shots attempted, wins a championship. And I'm telling you, I met him so many times. I had details where I had to secure him, like security details and stuff. I'm about 5'10". We were eye to eye. He might have been 5'10" and a half at best. He's just really thick. He has great He has great footwork. And he has one of the highest IQs in the game. And because of his dad, he learned old school basketball. And his old school basketball, he's like a Mark Jackson. He puts those guards. If you're under 6'6", he's putting you in a post and he's dominating you. But going back to my original statement, if you look at the history of all NBA championship winners, if you have your point guard who leads your team in shots attempts, who's under 6 foot, it's rare, super rare, that they ever win a championship. So history is against you, Dom. I'm so sorry. I'm like your biggest fan, but
Look,
I just gotta keep it
hear you.
real.
I hear you, and they have been what I will say, and the only thing that I'm going to say is what you're saying. That's the history, right? And history tends to repeat itself. So I can agree to that point. But also, what we've been seeing Jalen Brunson do is defy those odds repeatedly. So they, like, all year long, all season long, all the analysts on TV, they were criticizing Jalen Brunson. They were saying that, the Knicks they're not going to go anywhere, and to see what they were able to do with a shorthanded team in the playoffs, it was short of incredible. And, we almost made it to the Eastern Conference Finals.
I think the biggest telltale will be your bench's production. If you can get your next 3 players off the bench, which is your 6, 7, and 8, if you can get solid production where it's so solid during the regular season that it translates to the playoffs you usually run 8. 8 will be the most that you play in the playoffs. If you can get your next 3, your 6 through 8, to be extremely productive and dogs, then the sky is the limit. But I think y'all's success is predicated on your bench's production.
It always is, right? Especially come postseason. You can't win a title. You can barely win NBA games when you have no depth. We see that with the Phoenix Sun. We saw that with the Brooklyn Nets. We saw that with so many teams. We see that with the Lakers. We see that with every team in the NBA. With no depth, you're not going to win. So,
absolutely. You want some good news?
I do want some good news.
Y'all are better than the Lakers, and y'all will not be a play-in team. Y'all will be in the playoffs.
Let me tell you, that's the main thing that I need. My friends and I that I've got friends that are Lakers fans. I tease them all the time. I'm like, look, guys, just get ready and get excited to come and play in the Garden, because that's where those fans are going to appreciate you more than your own fans at this point.
Right. Dom, I know you got to get ready to go because you got other people calling. Is it okay if I conclude, because it's the last time I'm going to talk on the show today?
You go right ahead, Cook.
Everybody, shout out to everybody who's watching Dom. She's amazing. Her show is amazing. She's on the rise. And some of the topics did go off of sports, which is fine, and Dom will moderate that. Dom will moderate it. Dom will moderate that, but this is a safe space, and she loves and appreciates all her fans, her followers, her callers, her commentators. She really appreciates all. This is the only sports show where this is a safe haven where you will not get hollered, screamed, embarrassed, or called, names and stuff. So, even like the one guy said, I'm going to have the opposite take on something. She welcomes opposite takes. It's absolutely fine. And this is a show on the rise. And I'm so appreciative that you give me this opportunity and this platform to even call and speak with you and your audience. Thank you so much, Dom.
Gosh,
you're the best.
Thank you so much. And I just want to let you guys know that, I'm just like you. I'm we are in this together, talking and just, chopping it up about sports. So I'm really grateful for you guys to all be here. And, I don't elevate myself above anybody. So, you guys, all of your opinions are welcome and respected. And I look forward to hearing from you guys. I love the engagement. So continue to do that with me. And, thank you so much for calling in, T-Bert. You're
no problem. Hit that like button, everybody. Hit that like button.
And shout out to Philly. Okay. I used to call back in the day when I used to go to Villanova, I used to call it Philadelphia.
It still is, unfortunately. It still is.
I know it is. It is actually I think for a long time it was way more dangerous in Chicago. So
I thought it was, because I lived here my whole life, but I really researched and explore and all the stories and articles about Chirac, which they call it, because it's a war zone. I think Chicago might be worse than Philly. I think, because the difference is they actually have organized gangs. We don't. We just have hoods. They have gangs. So I don't know, but tomato, tomato. It is what it is.
Yeah. No, thank you so much for calling in, T-Bert. You're awesome. Thanks for everything.
Thanks, Dom. You have a great one.
You too. Have a good one.
All right. You too. Bye.
Bye-bye. All right, guys, I'm going to read some comments and, we'll close out the show from here. House of David, imagine having that lineup against the 90s Knicks. Oh my gosh, man, Patrick Ewing, he's just one of the best players to never, ever win a title. My favorite player on the Knicks when I was young was John Starks. I just used to love John Starks so much. I used to practice that sideline three all the time, that baseline three. I used to love taking that shot because of John Starks. So, Shy Rider, West Sider. I don't like Towns at the 5. Put that boy at the 4 and get another big body for the 5. Yeah, I don't really feel confident we solve for a center. That's how I felt when I got Cat. And when we gave up DiVincenzo, I'm like, God damn. So we lost one of the best shooters on our team. And we still don't really have a true center. We have a fake center. DeShannon Russell, the hating is why ESPN is dying. YouTubers that are hating are falling off. It's true. Good comment. Kill P. I'm also excited if they look good. fans will be delighted, can't even complain and say they don't like it. I mean, it's true. Like, New York fandom it's otherworldly in a way. You know, when the team is playing well, you have to see the fans out in the street just celebrating. It's not as crazy as Philadelphia, but New York fans it's just a vibe. You know, it's crazy because when Angel Reese came to New York to play, I forgot who she was playing against. Oh yeah, came to New York to play the Liberty, and we were singing for her. We had a choir out there for her. So like when you come to New York, it's just really a great place to play. The Garden it's a vibe. I mean, LeBron has said it. Multiple players that come to the Garden to play really just love it. I have to ask myself, was this trade done to weaken the Wolves so the Lakers have one less headache to go through? That's a really good question, I think, and I think it's a fair question to ask, but I don't think that the Timberwolves are going to stand in the Lakers' way. I think the Lakers are going to stand in their way of winning or going anywhere. It's hard being traded, and Josh Hart played hard everywhere he goes. Be glad to see he has found a home, I think. Yeah, I like Josh Hart a lot. Yeah, I agree with you. Miami will end up in the East Finals again. Do you think so? I don't know. We'll see. I'll be happy for them if they do. Jimmy, he really was Himmy. He was Himmy Butler, and he was that guy. The way that he ran through the East the prior season, it was just amazing. And I was actually sad when they lost the finals. I'm always rooting for the underdog. It's fun to root for the underdog. It's I think it's easy when your team is winning often. There's just like sort of like an emotional roller coaster that you have as a fan of a team, and it's so much different from being a fan of a player. So, shout out to team fans, shout out to people who embody, what sports culture is, because fandom of a person is really, it's almost like a sickness lately. And yeah, let's bring back team fans. Let's bring back true sports culture. I personally need that in my life, and and I want that for the game of basketball again. I really do. House of David, them 90s Knicks would kill them boys. Oh, for sure. Those 90s Knicks, such a great team. The Knicks will contend. I agree. I think it's safe to say in this room that the Knicks are contenders. They're not pretenders. Will they make it to the finals? That I'm shaky on, but I think they have a strong chance of getting out of the second round this year. And I have the same goal for them as I have for Philadelphia. The goal is to get out of the second round. And if you can do that, that's progress. If you can't, and it's going to be a huge battle between New York and Philly if they have to face off in the postseason. Because what happened last year, the way that Embiid played dirty with them, they're going to be out for blood. So that's going to be a nice rivalry, in my opinion, that's cooking up and bubbling on the surface for sure. Knicks are probably betting on Cat. Robinson will play similarly to Cat. I think Robinson's going to get traded. He's just been so injury prone. And there was another trade that the Knicks had that I think does help the fact that Karl Anthony Towns is kind of like a soft center. So who else did they get? They got somebody. They just got somebody. Like today they announced it. And I'm trying to figure out who that was. Does anybody know who they got like just today? Or is it just a rumor? Damn it. I know that they just traded for somebody else. So Karl Anthony Towns is there, but then they just picked up someone else as well. And I forgot who it was. Knicks trade for, let's see, I'm trying to look it up. I don't know what they did, but anyway, somebody else is coming. They're going to continue with these pieces, and I do really think that they're going to solve their roster issues. What this trade tells me, what the Cat trade tells me, is that they are looking for solves, and they are aggressively trying to figure out this roster. So I'm excited for the Knicks overall. This is super positive. Whether they make it to the finals and actually win a title in my lifetime, that remains to be seen. But I am super duper just like excited for where they're headed. I just think it's going to be incredible. It's amazing, really. Cat had meniscus surgery last season. Tibbs needs to go if New York wants to have any chance of getting their money's worth. Tibbs will run him into the ground. I think that players need to be ran into the ground a little bit. Honestly, like, I'm so tired of this soft ass NBA. Like, F that. Put them out on the floor. Like, they need to be in game shape constantly. I'm not saying play them 80 minutes long. Like, literally, Tibbs is a little crazy with that, but you know, it's a testament to the work ethic. You know, that's what I really believe. Let's see if you guys know who got traded recently. Yeah. I know somebody else is coming. It could have just been a rumor, and that's why I don't see it officially announced, but still very exciting upcoming season for the Knicks. And yeah, I'll read some more comments and then we'll close out. Henry Potts, how dare you? Knicks is trash. They best years was back in the 90s. Well, they're coming back, okay, Henry? They are coming back. Believe. Who's your team, Henry? That was such a disappointing comment. Oh, no, I'm just kidding. Seriously, I think for you to say that the Knicks are trash, they haven't made the playoffs in so many years. What they've been able to do, you know, in the past 2 seasons, it's been progress. And, you know, it's not like the Knicks are not like the Lakers. They're not expected to be in the finals every year. That's not the goalpost for them. The goalpost for the Knicks is to continue to make progress, for them to improve their roster, for them to improve their team, for them to improve their coaching, substitution patterns, etc. I do think that Tibbs has holes in his coaching that I think he needs to fix, whether it's substitution patterns, the amount of playing time he's giving these guys. He's literally overrunning the team. So I think that that's a good point. But come on, Henry, the Knicks are not trash. They are, you know, they're making moves. 90s Knicks were filthy. You let prime John Starks hand check Curry and Steph might wind up looking like Bronny out there. I just told someone that earlier. I don't think that Steph would still be Steph with the hand check. I just don't. Starks was MJ's punching bag, Dom. Nah, Starks and Vernon Maxwell. I mean, does anybody else remember John Starks dunking on Michael Jordan? Because I do. And that was something that we talked about in my household for like a week straight. Like, you know, it was just so much fun back then. And being a fan of the Knicks was just an incredible time for New York even. I'll never forget the Knicks were in the final when O.J. Simpson was running away in the Bronco. Wild. These are just the moments where like you remember exactly where you were. I remember what house I was in. I remember eating dinner at the table, and all of a sudden the finals are interrupted because OJ is in that goddamn Bronco driving and speeding away from the cops. I'm like, can we please put the goddamn game back on? Piss.com. But anyway, we got to protect her from the Bronze fanboys. She tells the truth about their Lord and Savior they worship. I try, you know, I'm just trying to bring a little balance. It's important to do that. And we have to make space. We have to hold space, right, for other opinions about sports. We just do. You're not a hater because you disagree that LeBron is the GOAT. You're not a hater because you don't think that he's the best, you know, player that you've ever seen with your 2 eyes. That's not hate. That's just your opinion. And we need to normalize having opinions. We need to normalize having different opinions. Imagine if everybody thought the same way. Nobody would grow. Nobody would learn anything. So, you know, like I said, guys, I'm really grateful to be here in this space with you guys. Let's see. The dunk, Starks over Jordan and Grant. I mean, that was so fire. And I love when they would call Horace Grant Ho Grant. I just think it's so funny for some reason. Ho Grant. Imagine your name being Ho. Anyway, Starks was a problem for real, and he was up for it when Chicago came to the Garden. Okay, one last time, I'm going to throw up the starting five for the Knicks, and then I'm going to bid you guys a good night. So we have Jalen Brunson, Mikal Bridges, Josh Hart, OG Anunoby, and Karl Anthony Towns. I think that that's a great lineup, and I'm here for it. I don't, we also have Precious. We have some depth waiting on the bench to ignite. So, I'm very excited for this Knicks team, and yeah, I'm really just looking forward to what they're going to do and accomplish in the upcoming season. So I want to thank you guys for being here with me tonight. I know it was late. I kept you guys up late, and you guys really hung on, and just really thankful. So I want everybody to get some rest, have a really wonderful Sunday, and enjoy the rest of your day and weekend. I hope that everybody's going to watch football tomorrow and just really have some good food with their family and enjoy. So have a wonderful night and get some rest, guys. Thank you so much. But before you go, if you haven't done so already, please like the video and subscribe to Sports Tea. Thank you guys so much. Have a good night. I'll see you soon.